Good afternoon and welcome to News Today on your most credible and authoritative news portal, the Joy News channel. We are live from our studios here at Kokomlemle with the digital address GA0992539. We're also live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144 and around the world at myjoyonline.com. My name is Daniel Daze. Many thanks for tuning in. Coming up, police intercept 2,100 cartridges suspected to be on its way to Tripoli by an Accra-Passa-bound Metro Mass bus. We hear from the Nkwanta police where the ammunition was discovered. Joint users robbing the Assembly investigations leads to Auditor General surcharging and disallowing over 400 million cedis to Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. Hundreds of Men's Gold customers hit the streets in Kumasi to demand payment of their locked-up investments in defiance of police directives stopping them from demonstrating today. In business, the second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, LC Ado Awaji, rejects claims of bias in the banking sector cleanup. Elsewhere, South Africa's Pretoria records a deadly train collision and later in showbiz, Becky takes you closer to celebrated Hollywood star Jaimon Honsu. He shares his story on how he got into acting and more. You don't want to miss the juice from these packages coming to you within the hour. Stay with us. Great to have you with us. And in our first story, the Nkwanta Police Command has intercepted a cache of ammunition on an Accra-Passa-bound Metro Mass Transit bus with a registration number GR441712. The ammunition, which was discovered during a random search at the Nkwanta Police barrier on Sunday, included a submachine gun and 3 packs consisting of 2,100 cartridges. They were concealed under the passenger seats and the boot of the vehicle. The driver, Tony Kwekubwedu, and his conductor, Samuel Library, have been picked up by the police and are assisting in investigations. Let's get onto the phone line and speak with the Volta Regional Commander, DCOP Francis Doku. Good afternoon, DCOP. Thanks for joining us. Hello, DCOP. Unfortunately, we are unable to connect with DCOP Francis Doku currently. We will bring you that interview when he joins us during the bulletin. Now, in the meantime, the Chief of Passa, Ubo Tassan Konja VI, has called on Kokombes and Chokosis in the Tripoli district in the northern region to give peace a chance and desist from reprisals to end their renewed clashes. Expressing disgust at the disturbing development, Ubo Tassan urged both factions to prioritize activities that would improve their livelihoods instead of conflict, which would retard development in their areas. He made the call after a discourse between Kokombes and Chokosis residents in Passa on finding a lasting solution to the conflict between the two tribes in the northern region.
Yes, I got information from somebody and I called the police commander and he confirmed that it is true. And I was worried, I was disturbed because that thing is coming into Passa there. I don't know why people are bringing that ammunition to Passa. And I don't know their brain behind bringing those ammunition into Passa. So I told the police commander they should do proper investigation, get somebody, anybody involved in that, such an act, they should let the law take its course.
Away from that, 1 year and 5 months after Joy News' investigation revealed systemic malfeasance in the award of sanitation contracts to the Jospong Group, no action has been taken by the Ministry of Local Government and the District Assembly's Common Fund to curtail the issues exposed. The Attorney General is yet to press any charges against the companies and individuals involved. In the following report, Manasseh Azuriawuni reveals how one of the fumigation contracts revealed in the Robbing the Assembly's investigation is the reason the Auditor General has surcharged and disallowed over 400 million Ghana cedis paid to Zoom Lion by the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Call it the fumigation exercise. If we really involved, members will not have even agreed because the impact of it is not felt in the district.
Thomas Nkpetri, the presiding member of the Pandai District Assembly in the Northern Region, believes the assemblies across the country have no control over Zoom Lion, which runs multiple sanitation contracts with assemblies. The money for the contracts are deducted at source by the District Assembly's Common Fund and paid to Zoom Lion. For this reason, the assemblies are not able to enforce or ensure performance.
Zoom Lion as a whole, I believe, is not even controlled by the government. So if the central government cannot control Zoom Lion at the national level, how can the district assembly control them locally?
The arrangement has also allowed the sanitation company to sign multiple sanitation contracts for the same service or similar services that are difficult to differentiate. For instance, the assemblies have a fumigation contract with Zoom Lion to spray drains, markets, toilets and other public places in the assemblies. The Ministry of Health has another fumigation contract with Zoom Lion, which is expected to be executed at the assembly level. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development also signed fumigation contracts with Zoom Lion and its sister companies to be undertaken in the assemblies. Last year, the Education Ministry also awarded Zoom Lion and other sanitation companies contracts to undertake yet another fumigation in senior high schools when all the districts in which the schools are located already had multiple fumigation contracts with Zoom Lion. Our investigations revealed that the assemblies which were supposed to supervise these fumigation contracts are only aware of one fumigation contract, the one between the assemblies and Zoom Lion. Zoya Texan is the Environmental Health Officer of the Wenchi Municipal Assembly in the Bono Ahaf region.
Yeah, I know of NAWCOP to be from the Zoom Lion sector. But as to whether some belong to the Ministry of Health, I'm not aware. I don't know whether some belong to the Ministry of Health. I know that NAWCOP is a group that is from the Zoom Lion, and they signed a contract with the Municipal Assembly.
So when you see any fumigation being done by NAWCOP, your conclusion or what you know is that they are implementing the contract with the assemblies?
Yes, exactly.
One fumigation contract that has become the subject of the Auditor General's surcharge and disallowance is the Nationwide Mosquito Control Program, signed between Zoom Lion and the Ministry of Health. Payment for this contract is made from the National Health Insurance Authority. The Auditor General has surcharged and disallowed over 400 million cedis against Zoom Lion and some current and past officials of the NHIA. Former Chief Executive of the authority, Sylvester Mensah, in a press statement said the payment was ordered by the Ministry of Health and so the NHIA was not involved in signing or monitoring the contract. Joy News investigation has revealed that the Ministry of Health does not monitor the execution of this contract. The assemblies where the contract is executed said they did not know the difference between this fumigation contract and the one the assemblies signed. Former District Chief Executive of Bongo in the Upper East Region, Alexis Ayamdo, told Joy News he had no knowledge that Zoom Lion undertakes any different fumigation contract apart from the one paid for by the assembly.
For the visibility, the Anglo-Globe, Ashanti-led projects, they were quite visible. I can say that besides the reduction in terms of malaria-related cases, some of our youths had opportunity to get employment, and within that short period of time, some people's lives were improved. At least they got some income, to augment what they were doing. So that, for me, I can authoritatively say that they were quite visible, and we had interacted. We had their quarterly review meetings, which I was invited to participate. But aside these malaria-related program that I've talked about, led by this NGO, I cannot think of any clear, visible, activity that were done in terms of spraying of malaria at the same time. No, in the district.
Despite these revelations and previous adverse findings by the Auditor General, nothing has been done about the numerous fumigation contracts. It is still business as usual.
Away from that, hundreds of aggrieved Men's Gold customers today hit the streets in Kumasi to demand payments of their locked-up investments. Their action is in defiance of an earlier directive from the Ashanti Regional Police Command impressing on them to call off their intended demonstration in Kumasi. The command warned it will deal with members of the group who will flout its directive to take part in that illegal protest. That directive was obviously not heeded. My colleague Prince Apia will be joining us shortly with some updates on exactly what happened with that demonstration. But let's hear some of those disgruntled customers.
Okay, so why have you decided this morning to protest, even after the police had asked you not to go on this particular protest?
Actually, we are doing this protest to remind, because there has been a lot of petition all around, from Accra, Parliament, Information Ministry, even Otumfuo himself. This is the second, we've given Otumfuo second petition. So this protest was to be a reminder, not a demonstration. It's a peaceful reminder that we just want to tell Otumfuo to step in, because we've petitioned him and then we're expecting him, to actually step in and then talk to the Nana Apia Mensa and then pay us, because our monies, our investment are with them. And then from August, not even one extra value to any person.
My reason for this protest is when Mama was in power, Men's Gold was working.
Prince joins us on the line with more. Now, Prince, is the demonstration still ongoing, or the customers have dispersed?
Yeah, Daniel, the customers dispersed some 3 hours ago. The police managed to disperse them. Initially, they had intended to go to Menchia and then to the NPP party office to petition Otumfuo, and because they learned the president is in town, they wanted to go there to also petition him. But the police did not allow them to go to these areas because they said they had defied the Public Order Act of seeking permission from them before they embarked on that particular protest. So this protest was restricted to the Amekom area in front of the Men's Gold office at Amekom.
Well, the Public Order Act does not empower the police to stop people from demonstrating because they have not been involved, because they have not been informed. Remember with the Let My Vote Count demonstrations back in 2016, the court ruled that the police does not need to be informed. Was this made clear to the police when they said that this was illegal in any way?
So what the police said was that, yes, they can protest, but the routes and all were not communicated to them, so they can't, they don't have they didn't come with the number of policemen who are supposed to guide them to go to this route that they intended to go, because there were no discussion. That is why they didn't allow them to go, but they allowed them to protest in front of the Amekom office. And so,
were there any violent happenings? Was there any violence? Were there any security concerns recorded?
Not that I saw. There was nothing like that. Just that some of the aggrieved customers were behaving according to the police. So 3 of them were arrested, and they are being questioned as of now.
Thank you very much, Prince Apia, for joining us. And that was Prince from Kumasi. Now, still to come in business, Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, LC Ado Awaji, rejects claims of bias in banking sector cleanup. Elsewhere, South Africa's Pretoria records a deadly train collision. And later in showbiz, Becky takes you closer to celebrated Hollywood star Jaimon Honsu. He shares his story on how he got into acting and more. It's an exciting bulletin. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, Professor Philip Ebo-Bonzi Simpson, wants changes in the law to prevent MPs from taking up ministerial appointments. He made this comment at the maiden Constitution Day lecture held in Accra Monday. Emmanuel Jivenu has more.
Delivering the lecture in Accra, Professor Ebo-Bonzi Simpson called for a review of the current provisions in the Constitution which mandates the President to appoint majority of his ministers from the legislature. The strict separation of the two arms of government, he believes, would deal with the inefficiencies posed by an individual handling both positions and strengthen Parliament, largely seen as a rubber stamp.
Not that there is not a good case for MPs being ministers, because in some democracies we do have that. But how has it worked? There is so much business to be done in a country that is hungry for development. And I even suggest that there are so many competent people out there. If you choose to be MP, that is what you chose to do for 4 years.
The often repeated claim about the competence of MPs, Professor Bonzi Simpson demanded that political parties be held responsible for fielding what he calls substandard individuals as parliamentary candidates.
It may be controversial to suggest, but necessary to suggest, that we should match the job description of Parliament and its parliamentarians with those who are qualified. And to the extent that political parties present candidates, they should be held responsible for the caliber and the competence of the people they present at all constituencies.
On his part, law professor SKB Asante welcomed the suggestion to separate the legislature from the executive.
So the question is whether we distribute our time properly. But I have no objection to outline the other model of a complete separation between Parliament and Cabinet.
The former national chairman of the governing MPP, Peter McMahon, disagrees with the two. He believes using academic qualifications as a yardstick in determining who becomes a legislator would disadvantage many Ghanaians from participating in the governance process.
If the government hasn't made room for people to qualify academically, then you are going to do what I'll call, separating other people from giving their quota to national contribution or discrimination for that matter. So I think that in areas like that, the government must first put the enabling environment for everybody to qualify academically, so that when everybody is given the opportunity to qualify, then you can say that everybody must have that qualification to compete in a legislative election.
Meanwhile, governance expert Dr. Eric Oduro-Osai is raising some financial implications to calls to review provisions in the Constitution to bar MPs from taking up ministerial appointments. The suggestion, he believes, will mean an increase in the public wage bill as a result of engaging more individuals in the governance system.
If you separate the two positions, what is then going to happen is that you will need more people in public service. That is going to increase the wage bill, service institutions. So we need to look at all of that. But from where we have come from and where we are going as a nation, I think his point is very good. It is on point, and it is something that we need to support, except that it will require massive constitutional and legislative review to enable us to ensure that it works. And we should also look at our public service wage bill, even as we separate it, because what it then means is that previously, if you have one person performing two functions, now we're going to have two different people performing the two separate functions. What are the cost implications on financing public offices?
Now, some indigents of Kete in the Krache West district have pledged to give their estates and other landed properties to government to serve as administrative officers for the Oti region, should that place be chosen as the regional capital. So far, 4 districts, namely Nkwanta South, Jasik, and Krache East and Krache West, have expressed interest in having the capital of the newly created Oti region. But the Krache Youth Association believes it will be unjust to deny Kete Krache the capital. Manasseh Azuriawuni was in Krache to see the facilities being promised the government and now reports.
Kete, for example, used to be a very important economic center. We had a road, main road from Accra runs through Kete right up to Tamale. And if you ever came to Kete at any time in the day or even in the night, our lorry station was very actively being participated by people who were trading and other things and so on and so forth. Nana Abiam Danso, the Ankobia Hene of the Krache traditional area, explains how Kete Krache lost out as a major trading center following the building of the Akosombo Dam. The Kete town, which was a major commercial center between the north and the southeastern part of Ghana, was submerged, and to date, the people still live with the consequences of the lake. President of the Krache Youth Association, Hastings Anani, says Kete Krache was sacrificed to have the Volta Lake as well as the Akosombo Dam and must be compensated with a regional capital to open up the place.
You know, experience is the best teacher. So once Krache was able to control all these districts without any problem, I think that with that experience, it's too easy for us to manage the region.
Mr. Nani took Joy News to some facilities that have been pledged by some indigents of Kete Krache to host the regional administrative offices should the government choose Krache as the regional capital for the Oti region.
We have all the facilities that it takes the government to site the regional capital here. We have a vast land that we can give out to the government to start building administrative structures. We have it.
One of the arguments against Kete Krache in its bid for the capital of the Oti region is the fact that it is surrounded by water. Travelers to Kete Krache from the southern parts of the country would have to cross the Oti River before entering the district.
We should look at the broader Ghana. And I'll talk about water bases. Now, we're saying that if you make Kete Krache the regional capital, we are going to open up the area. Someone traveling from any place will get to a destination, Kete Krache. They will buy on the road, they will buy yam, they will buy fish, they will buy charcoal, they will buy goat, they will buy everything that we have.
The Krache Youth Association believes Kete Krache is more accessible to other regions outside Oti and hope those making the decision on the choice of the regional capital will look beyond only the 6 districts to the south of Kete Krache.
To take Krache out, you take Kete Krache out and you send it to any other area, it means that those I have mentioned, the Boahafu, the Bunu East, the Ashanti, the Northwest, after crossing the river, crossing the Seni River, they will have to cross the Oti before going to say Nkwanta, Dambai, or Jasikai. Are we not considering them?
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Joint Consultative Committee on the creation of the Oti region and paramount chief of the Krache traditional area, Nana Mprabesemuna, has appealed to competing interests to stay united and not do anything that would undermine the victory won at the referendum.
Everybody should be patient for the Nanum to meet and come to a decision as to where we should send the capital. If we meet, we cannot solve our problem. There's the help of the technocrats as suggested by the minister. And by that, I think they are going to look at all the possible angles.
Like the referendum itself, it appears the Oti region again has the keenest competition in the struggle for the regional capital. But the youth of Kete Krache are upbeat about their chances. For Joy News, Manasseh Azure Arena reporting.
Now, police at Abra Dunkwa will this morning put before a Cape Coast Circuit Court a 50-year-old man who defiled 2 teenagers at different locations in a day at Edumfa in the central region. This case brings to 3 defilement cases recorded by the police in 1 week at Edumfa. On Friday, the police also arrested a 28-year-old man who defiled a 6-year-old girl in the same community in the central region.
2 teenagers who were in junior high school at Edumfa, according to the police, were allegedly defiled at different locations by a 50-year-old man. One is said to have been defiled in the 50-year-old's apartment, while the other 14-year-old was defiled at a different location. It makes it 2 crime scenes, 2 defiled girls, 2 separate defilement cases, but 1 suspect. Abradunko District Police Commander DSP John Paul Akonde tells Joy News his medical report of the 2 and the witnesses in the case will support the charges of defilement being pressed by the prosecuting police team.
He had 2 ladies who were 4 within the ages of 14 years to different places, 2 crime scenes that I'm talking about, and had carnal knowledge of them, which to our per the law. Yes, defilement case are 2 separate cases, but 1 suspect. And as I speak to you, the person has been remanded into prison custody and investigation is almost done.
Also before the court in Cape Coast will be the case of the 6-year-old who was defiled by a 28-year-old relative. Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. Now coming up in business, Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, LC Ado Awaji, rejects claims of bias in banking sector cleanup. Daryl has more after the break.
To us, internal and external.